I just returned from Scale 22X, otherwise known as the Southern California Linux Expo in Pasadena, and I have to say, there was some really cool tech I wasn't completely aware of that I am now 100% sure I have to get my hands on at some point. Like a completely open source router for only $89, or a single board computer that has Qualcomm Cortex cores and is compatible with the entire Raspberry Pi hardware ecosystem, or an off-grid decentralized network that may replace your cell phone carrier one day. Oh shoot, I guess I forgot to mention, this video wouldn't have been possible without boom! PCBWay! Do you have a project in mind but don't know exactly where to start? Well, with PCBWay's Shared Projects tab, whether it be PCB design or 3D printables, they have got you covered. Ooh, this PCB binary watch looks pretty good. And there's the project right there. It's as simple as choosing PCB plus assembly and adding it to your cart. Then you just select your quantity and hit checkout. It's as simple as that. PCBWay has tons of more community projects to pick from. So why don't you go ahead and get a quote today, because PCBWay is your partner in innovation. I could spend all day on this community page. There's tons of stuff. Here we go. We're talking about terminal jockey tech today. All right. Why don't we dive in immediately with the One from OpenWRT. At a very respectable $89, the One. Thing that stands out about the One is the M.2 slot you have on it, so you can just install whatever operating system you want on it, as well as have full control over monitoring via serial through USB-C. So if you are looking for a more efficient and smaller upgrade to your old Optiplex pfSense router, this may be exactly what you're looking for. If you have a deeper interest in the One, you can check out my coverage of the One here at Scale 22X, as well as hear Denver talk about software freedom conservancy in order to protect your software rights. And you should, because we should do it for Denver, because Denver's doing it for you. And trust me, I'm gonna be getting one. So go ahead and click the bell if you wanna see that video. Next, we have the Rubik Pi 3, a Qualcomm-based single board computer that has a little more oomph to it than a standard Raspberry Pi 5, while keeping compatibility with most, if not all, Raspberry Pi accessories, from GPIO hats all the way to MIPI camera modules. While software compatibility, at the moment, may not be 100% with the 12.5 13 effective tops under its belt, it's obvious that this SBC is meant to be more geared towards running AI models. As you can see in my scale coverage, I'm very excited to see what other Pi alternatives show up over the next little bit as people start to become disillusioned with the Raspberry Pi Foundation. So lastly, we have Meshtastic and Ardan. Meshtastic is an open source off-grid decentralized mesh network built to run on affordable, low-powered devices that enable you to use expensive LoRa radios as a long-range off-grid communication platform in areas without existing or reliable communications infrastructure. For example, we have this little $70 device reminiscent of a BlackBerry phone. By the way, it's funny, I actually had just sent out a message to LilyGo, and they actually agreed to send me a TDEC Plus. So that's really cool. So I'll actually be able to do a video about Meshtastic using this cool retro looking BlackBerry device. Once I get my hands on that, I'll talk more about Meshtastic, because I think Meshtastic is really cool. I'm gonna be doing some cool texting. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out really quick. But if you want to set one up yourself, there's always devices from Heltec Automation for use with Pi or Arduinos. Heck, if you wanted to, you could hit up PCBWay and build Meshtastic compatible devices using one of the community's pre-made projects. Overall, it's a really cool way to take back some of your privacy and control with essentially a decentralized communication platform that even supports GPS features. If that's what you want, of course. Then there's Ardan, a fun combination of networking and amateur radio that uses commodity radio antennas like these ones by Ubiquity that allow transfer speeds of up to 30 megabits per second at a distance of 10 miles, or almost 2 megabits per second at the distance of 150 miles. Now, that may not sound too impressive on the surface, but this is all happening between two $80 Ubiquity radio antennas on the ground. No Starlink nonsense needed. And the best part of this software is it's relatively plug and play, with the only caveat is you need a ham radio license. But luckily, they have a link to where you can easily learn how to get your ham radio license. I had so much fun meeting all these cool people at the SoCal Linux Expo, like Matthew from Lutris and the guys at OpenSUSE and KDE, and as well as System 76 and Denver. What a cool guy. It's really interesting to me to see the direction that Linux and open source tech is going in, and the Southern California Linux Expo is a great example of that. I'm really happy with the way Linux on the desktop is starting to come up. And I was talking about it with Cameron, and I don't know if I want to go back to Windows. I've been on Mint for the last few months, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't miss Windows 11. Windows 11 is less stable than Windows 9X in my opinion. And that's a problem. And I'm tired of taking it from Microsoft. With that being said, as a creator, as someone who is a creative, I'm gonna spend the next little bit putting together a workflow, a creative workflow that still allows me to use DaVinci Resolve for Linux, something that works. So I recommend clicking the bell because you're gonna wanna check that one out. We're going back, baby. Cameron and I are going back to Linux. All right, bye, love you.